Here we go. Welcome everybody to Wine and Design this Friday, the 22nd of February. Wow, I can't believe it's kind of the end of February, not quite, but here we are again. Have a wine. Let's do this first, Alex, because everybody's kind of expecting this. What is that?
Today's wine, Adam, is a Mr. Mick Rosé. It is my current support of choice. Yeah, love a rosé at the moment. And the Mr. Mick, my favourite.
Cute. So, it goes kind of, that rosy tone goes with your very styled office, Alex, in the background.
Well,
there.
You know, I do like to be coordinated.
Yeah, are they real in the background, those peony roses? Are they real? Are they in season?
No, they're my fakies. They are in season. But these are my fakies, and they are awesome for mixing in with fresh flowers, as you would know. But it's a great cheat. You don't have to buy it fresh every single time. You can make use of the fakies, which these days are amazing, particularly if you mix them in with actual foliage or greenery. Look great. So I take them with me. They're usually in my supplies for shoots or whatever. So.
Well, you're looking very cool too, very gorgeous and cool. I love the candle in the background. Just giving that ambience.
Thank you. Yes,
on a
nice.
Friday afternoon, with a glass of wine, talking to me.
Just kicking back, just the two of us.
Just the two of us. So I guess what we'll do, I'm just actually waiting. I'm just seeing whether any of we've got 4 viewers.
Okay.
Just wondering if someone's going to pop in here. One thing I want to say to everybody, please say hi. We've got a cute little pop-up and I'd love to show you up on our screen, and also any questions you have for Alex or myself, we'd love to hear them. So feel free to ask a question. Don't be shy. Don't feel like you just have to hide away and watch. Get on there and get a glass of wine if you drink, or mineral water, whatever if you don't. But say hi to us. We're really approachable, aren't we, Alex? Very approachable.
Yeah, don't lurk. Let us know you're here. Tell us your questions. Join in.
So I'll intro me before I intro you. So I'm Adam Scougall, an interior designer, and I create beautifully unique homes for people that are staying put. Do you have a tagline, Alex? That was a tagline.
I think I may have had one at some stage. I don't think I do. I love yours. It really appropriately describes the kind of clients that I'm usually working with. Maybe I'll just steal your tagline. Because I do tend to get a lot of people who have decided we don't want to move. We don't want to hand over all that money to, stamp duty and all the rest of it. So they've decided that, there is some equity in the home. They'd rather stay put and make it into their forever home. And that really does describe well my typical client.
That's cool. I think that's what I love about your work, Alex, is it feels to me like these homes are forever homes. There's there's a real cohesion there, which is, touching on our topic of creating a cohesive space. That's really, when I look at your portfolio, which I love, I'm a big fan of you. They all seem to be that way to me. That's the connection I feel with you and what you do. It feels similar to me in a way, that's the whole ethos needs to be there. It's designed to be there to stay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the rewarding side of working with people who are staying put, because, they do end up with these beautiful homes, which they're so happy to live in. And, I think the people are clocking on and realizing that your surroundings are actually really, really important to your well-being, and being happy in your surroundings can really make a big difference to how you feel about yourself and how you feel about others and your general happiness. And, it's great that people are actually investing in that and, really making their homes gorgeous.
Oh, gosh, that's music to my ears. I mean, I totally agree with you there, Alex. And I want to what I want to do is actually ask you a little bit about you and how you started your business. Okay. Before I do that, I just want to say, can we just say hi to some people popping on? So we've got Nancy Ganza-Corfa. She's amazing. Nancy,
hi,
I think you're in Texas, Nancy. I think you're in Texas. I'm not sure. Or Nancy's actually from New York, but I think currently she's in Texas till the end of the week. So we're going international here. We've got Marley. Hi, Marley. How you going?
Hi,
Saying
Marley.
And
Lovely,
Alex.
Marley.
Michelle,
Hey, Michelle.
I hope you're getting the guest name right today, darling. It's actually Alix Helps on today. I'm giving Michelle a hard time. She was a guest episode 2, but letting the team down, having mineral water.
Oh, come on, Michelle. Pull it together, girl. It's 4:36 on a Friday.
So, Nicole, how are you going?
Hi, Nicole. Nicole's a beautiful client of mine. Hi.
Oh, cool. Fantastic. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining. Thanks for saying hi. So, Alex, tell me about Alix Helps Interiors. Where it started, how long?
Okay, so I have had a lifelong love of design and interiors. And when I first met my husband back in 1864, that was really what I wanted to do. But at the time, it's that, you've recently made the leap from working in a very different field. I was very much involved in a family business. I used to work with my dad, and that business setup suited our lifestyle for that time. But I've been a frustrated designer all my life. So it took me really until late 30s to realize that I actually needed to follow up on that. And I actually needed to, scratch that itch. So my dad was looking at retirement anyway. So Dad is now retired, and I took myself back to school and qualified as an interior decorator. So I'm in my 5th year of business now. And yeah, loving it. I can't believe this is my 5th year of business, actually. It feels like 2 months.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. I just feel like it's just whipped by. The time has just absolutely whipped by. So I was surprised when I worked that out the other day. So,
oh God, when I look at your portfolio, it's just like extensive, and I think, God, it's to me, it's like you've been going for a decade, not 5 years.
Oh, that's nice, Adam. Thank you. I have covered a lot. I have been super busy, and I've had some really great opportunities and worked with some lovely clients who wanted to do just what we were discussing earlier. So I really wanted to stay put in their homes, and I've got some really lovely projects on my portfolio. So
yes, you do.
That's where I'm at.
The only thing, Alex, I think we've got a little bit of, you haven't got the phone near you, have you? Your audio is a little bit crackly.
Let me throw it over there. There, is that better?
It's a little bit crackly. Remember we had our tests, guys, we just tech issues where you pull it out and you put it back in.
Yeah. Ooh. Hold on, bear with me.
Wine while you do that.
Very technical.
That's better. It's better.
Is that better?
It's back to normal.
Is it? No, I can't hear you for some reason. Oh, this is so professional, isn't it? Sorry, guys.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, I can. You're coming through my speakers. Let me just put you back in my ears. So anyway, if that's sounding good to you, who cares, right? I can hear you. So,
guys, let us know if you can't hear either of us, but I'm hoping you can hear both of us. So Alex, 5 years, to me it seems like, looking at your beautiful work, so many beautiful kitchens and bathrooms, along with beautiful living rooms. But there's one sort of topic, when I look at your work, to me, and especially this Palm Beach project, which I want to talk to you about, and I'll hand over to you, is really just there's a real cohesion about that particular project. If anyone wants to know where to find Palm Beach project, you can log on to, it's Alix Helps Interiors. Is it .com.au or
just
.com?
.com. Yeah, just
.com. And there's a beautiful project on there called Palm Beach. It's Palm Beach House, Palm Beach, just Palm
something
Beach.
like that. Yeah. Yep.
What I love about it, Alex, is it's you haven't gone out there in terms of, massive amounts of varying colour. It's really tailored. It is very coastal, I guess you could call it. But it's really the way that everything's, you look at the bathrooms, and you've done a couple in there, haven't you? As well as a kitchen. Yeah, 3 bathrooms. So not only is the colour palette soft, it's blues and whites, it's wood tones, but just everywhere it's really considered, but it's also really pared back. And to me, I think that's one thing that I'm continually thinking about is, you know, how much more is more do we need as opposed to pulling back and sometimes less is more. So I'm not sure of your ethos, whether you're a more is more girl or a less is more girl.
I think, as you know, it totally depends on the client. This was a really beautiful project. I so enjoyed working on it. It was fun for a number of reasons. Number one, the clients were just awesome client. Kim was a really fun lady to work with. She was absolutely open to all of my ideas and concepts and was happy to run with it. She was someone who would absolutely value my input and time and was just a really great person to work with and made a really good team. The other important thing that made her so great to work with is because she had actually already developed some fairly good ideas about what she wanted to achieve. It was quite a big renovation. This is a family who live in St Ives. They've got quite a few kids, 3 or 4, I think, but all late teens. And mum and dad really wanted to create a beautiful weekender that they could enjoy with the kids who are all at various stages of tertiary education. And they wanted to be able to just get everybody up there and have a beautiful time. It's positioned on top of a hill. I don't know if you know that area, but it's literally in the same road as Jonas. Just down the road from Jonas, you've got those absolute sweeping ocean views out of every single window facing the ocean. And that was really what I knew we had to focus on and make the most of, because when you've got that handed on a plate, you really don't want to be creating too much to draw the attention away from that. You know, being able to embrace nature in any interior is really, really, you know, a gift. Really, it makes your job so easy. So Kim had given a lot of thought to what she wanted. She had put together a beautiful mood board for me, which was great, with pictures and things. I looked up the brief today so I could tell you, and I thought, I'll just read this to you. Where did I put that? So the brief was a relaxed yet contemporary finish with a coastal, slightly Mediterranean feel throughout, although keeping the look away from the somewhat cliche version of coastal. No ships and anchors here, thanks very much. You would like to incorporate timber and weave textures, neutrals and indigos, and some unique touches that will finish off the home. This is first and foremost a family space that you'd like to enjoy without too much formality. It must be comfortable and practical, yet suitably elegant that you feel happy to be spending precious time at home. Ta-da! So that was the brief. And clearly, with all of the ocean views, we had to work with blues. There would have been a nonsense to make anything else the key colour. The other part of the brief was that they really wanted to feel like they were in a beautiful hotel. They wanted luxury, lovely bathroom, and to just really feel like they're in, you know, on holiday at home, really. So yeah, really, it was great. We worked together really well. The upstairs and the downstairs are kind of divided into 2 separate concepts, really, because the downstairs they are renting out until such time that they're ready to move there permanently after they retire. Downstairs is rented out, so just a short-term lets. So really, upstairs is mum and dad's beautiful pad. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs, or will be 2 bedrooms. There's a little bit more to do there. And then downstairs, there are another couple of bedrooms. And so we did 2 bathrooms downstairs, 1 upstairs in the master suite, and the kitchen and that big open plan living dining kitchen space.
With that beautiful view.
Yeah, it was, and the beautiful view, and literally like whales just casually passing by. It's amazing. Never when I visited, I might add, but you know, I'm told. So yeah, it was great. And they were really open to, you know, I'm a bit of a wallpaper girl. People do come to me for wallpaper. They do come to me for something a little bit more bold and interesting. So I knew that they were happy to embrace some risk. And they were happy to, but everything I presented, they just responded so well to. It was really lovely. So we were definitely on the right wavelength. It was great.
I love that. What I like is that it's so cool when clients give you sort of that really considered brief and are so specific. Like, is it Joe? Is it Joe, your client?
Kim.
Jenny. Kim. Oh, totally off. Sorry, Kim. Apologies, Kim, if you're watching. But that Kim wrote that detailed brief, very particular, and it's very warming to have that sort of input. You know, I'd imagine it made your job a lot easier in terms of getting yourself in the right direction very quickly.
Definitely. So the brief actually was an excerpt from my brief, from my summary of our discussions together about when I'm summarising and itemising that very detailed scope, as you know, you do at the beginning of the project. What was great was that she'd done these mood boards. And so literally, you know, just cut pictures out of magazines and stuck them together. So I already had a really good feel for the style that she likes. We discussed things that she didn't like. We discussed how we would pull back and not go super, super coastal, because really, no. So we were on a good wavelength, and we communicated really well. So it was a really good one.
That's great. Maria, she said she's in.
Maria.
So that could be a new project here.
Maria everyone knows, is my sidekick. We went through college together and qualified together, and we have very similar businesses. She has a business called Schemes and Spaces, and she is another awesome Sydney designer.
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah,
so what was the, what would you say the highlight or highlights were of that project, Alix?
I think for me, really the highlights were that the clients were so receptive and just happy it was like having complete creative control, which obviously is the dream situation. You know, everything I brought to them, they were like, yes, love it. They'd sometimes take it away and look at it together, and then the next day I'd get the email, yes, we love it all, Alix, that's great. As you know, you do usually get the best results on those projects that haven't been tinkered with too much. And so I was able to do pretty much everything that I had presented. So that was a highlight, definitely. The view, I mean, just the location of the place was just fabulous. It was a really lovely home to work in, and clients who are keen to inject some personality gives you a little bit more scope to do some fun things with some really beautiful suppliers and products.
Yeah. One thing you said, Alix, was that, you know, people come to you for pattern and wallpaper and you know, that going that little bit further than just, you know, mundane and keeping everything down. The first thing I noticed, it's, you know, if anyone logs on, do log on to Alix's website or go to House. There's some great pictures there as well. But the thing is, to me, is you could take these photos and make a scrapbook and go from bathroom to bedroom to open plan with that beautiful kitchen and that stunning, you know, very simple but gorgeous dining, kitchen, lounge area. And everything to me is just so cohesive as you go through it. I could literally just go through a scrapbook and there's something relatable about each of those areas that you've done. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is to tell us about the fabulous bathrooms and how do you choose that choice of tile? Because there's one particular bathroom, it's absolutely beautiful. There's this, I don't know if you'd call it an ethnic sort of touch to the pattern, but I don't even know what it is. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about, but a very simple stool, and then the real feature to me is this amazing tile. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that is one of my favourite bathrooms. In fact, I think that is going to be in Home Beautiful in April.
Wow.
Don't quote me on
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been another reason why this was such a great project, you know, just to have such, you know, so well received by people who like this kind of stuff. Yes, so that is the master ensuite, and the clients really wanted it to feel like a hotel. There were a couple of challenges for that bathroom. They really wanted to have a freestanding bath and a separate shower. There wasn't a whole lot of space with the original allocation of space. And so when I stood back and looked at it, I actually ended up borrowing some space from the walk-through wardrobe, which links the master bedroom to the bathroom. So just by extending even by, I think it was something like 600, 650 mil into that space, it just gave us the space that we needed to separate a beautiful shower with a overhead rain head shower and have that lovely feature bath at the end in front of those fabulous tiles, which just makes it a focal point. So the other thing was Kim really wanted to be able to see the ocean from the bath while she's having a bath. Now, the only challenge with that is the location of the window was right next to the toilet, Adam.
Oh, okay.
So I was worried for the neighbours But we did find a good solution. We looked at a number of things. In fact, Kim found this really great fixed panel shutter, which just gives enough light through, but enough of the space that when you're sitting in the bath, you can see the ocean, but it gives you the privacy that you need when you're sitting next to the window.
Fantastic. So that was the ensuite. It looks huge.
Yes,
I mean,
it is lovely. Yeah, I did manage to make it a little bit bigger. And the tiles that you mentioned, yes, they are the Perini tiles. You can find those at Di Lorenzo, and there are 5 different patterns. So it's quite possible to create quite a unique pattern by arranging them however you feel. You know, you can rotate each one as well. So even by doing that, you're getting a bit of a mirror image of the same tile. So I wanted gentle pattern. I only wanted really gentle introduction of blue in that bathroom. I think everything else just spoke for itself. And yeah, it turned out to be a really super room. I love it.
Absolutely beautiful. It feels very gentle.
Yes.
That's what I love about it. It's just so subtle, but you get the power of that pattern. And to me, that just really tops it off. And you continued the pattern, and you were talking about wallpaper, but the next thing I think about is that drop-dead gorgeous bedroom.
Yes.
That you've done, where you've combined the paper on the wall, or you've matched it with the pendants.
Yes. Yeah.
Stunning, beautiful.
I know, right? Isn't it gorgeous? I really wanted to have something quite bold and graphic on that wall. I wanted it to be a botanic print, but I didn't want it to be too sort of realistic. So that is a Schumacher wallpaper. Schumacher have a beautiful product. I love their stuff. And I just thought that I'm not normally a matchy person, but I didn't particularly want the pendants to say much else than, hey, we're on this team. So I made and it worked really well. And then to just calm the rest of it down. So I wanted to do a big luxurious bed, which has that beautiful big linen bed head, a matching ottoman in exactly the same fabric. And then for me, when you've already introduced that amount of colour and pattern on the feature wall, I'm a crisp white bed linen gal, you know, and I was also trying to ensure that when my clients hop into bed at night, they feel like they're getting into bed in a beautiful luxury hotel. And I do often say to people, how many beautiful 5-star hotels do you stay in where there is a pink, yellow and purple bedspread and a duvet colour and some
Not many that you stay at, Alex.
Certainly not.
But that's a great story. Yeah. How do you do, I mean, I know ways you can do it, but how did you do the lampshades? Because they're the same as the wallpaper. Yep. So is that a fabric, or is that the paper again, or how do you do that?
Yep, it's the paper again. I've got a beautiful company that make my lampshades, and so I dropped off, you know, we had offcuts from the wallpaper. That was the other thing I think that first sparked the idea for me. I was like, oh, yeah, that's good, I can make use of that. So I just sent the excess wallpaper to my beautiful ladies who make my lovely custom drum pendants. And then the electrician supplies all the bits and pieces. So it's easy to do. If you want to do it yourselves, it makes a big difference to your room. It's lovely.
What's your favourite part of the project?
My favourite part of the project is shooting it, because I get to get in there, make it look, exactly how I want it to look. And, you know, it's when it's just at its most perfect. Ta-da! And that gives me such a tremendous sense of fulfillment. I think that's why I do this job. For me, it's about the process of transforming from something that may have been a bit meh to something that is fabulous. And I'm like that about so many things. It's quite weird. I've had this conversation before. I can feel fabulous about raking the leaves off the lawn. Like, I can look at a messy lawn covered in sticks and leaves and go out there for 40 minutes with my rake and then stand up on my deck and look at it and go, it's really quite sad. That is what drives me in life. So I really enjoy, and I can blame my dad for it, actually. That's his fault. I do enjoy that process of transformation, from taking something from point A to point B and then standing back at the end and feeling great about what you've achieved. So I think, yeah, my favourite part is definitely the shoot day. I rock up with, as you would know, a car full of vases and flowers and bits and pieces, and yeah, so it's a fun day. I have a wonderful photographer who's really fun to work with, and yeah, we get the job done, and then I get the satisfaction of sitting back and going, yay, that looks great.
So Alix, you've had, this has already been published, this project?
The master bed has, yes. It was published in the October issue of Home Beautiful Blue View. I've got it up here on my inspo pin board, just in case I'm lacking. And it was in the October issue of Home Beautiful last year. Yeah, they shot at the house, and I think, yes, there's a few other bits and pieces coming up in future issues. So that was in, was that in Magic Makeovers? It was in the Magic Makeovers section.
So did they do a reshoot, Alix, or did they use your photos that you spent the time on?
They always reshoot. They like to have their own photography. So, yeah. So that's
fantastic.
fine.
So you've already had that recognition, really. Was it October last year they did the bedroom? And you've got April coming up, hopefully. So that's fantastic, isn't it? To not only have such a beautiful outcome, but to get the recognition. You were talking about you also get recognition from, you know, getting rid of leaves. I don't. And getting into that. But I like the recognition as well of getting to the end of a project like you have with this beautiful Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And then having that whole sort of end, you know, aha moment, you know, here it is photographed, it's beautiful. So there's a lot of beauty there, but as you and I know, it's not always hunky-dory to get there.
Right. Yes.
So what about some challenges? Do you have any challenges on this project, even though it's turned out beautifully?
Really, no, the challenges are all at the design stage in trying to realise the dreams of my clients. So to ensure that bathroom gave them everything they were wanting, and we got over that. What else was a challenge? Not really. I had to work pretty quickly in the beginning because we'd spoken about this project, and Kim had sort of ummed and ahed about whether she wanted some help with it or not. And then suddenly I got the call, and the builders were, you know, lining up, ready to back up the ute. And I was like, oh, holy moly, we're going for this. So I had to get it all cracking fairly quickly, but, you know, it was fine. We actually worked with it really well. So, but yeah, no other challenges. The team were great. And so, yeah, it was a fun project to work on.
Alix, how long does it take you? I mean, it's a pretty significant project. You got, did you say 3 bathrooms? 3?
Yes, so it was the whole of the upstairs. I didn't design the kitchen. I helped Kim to make selections, so I chose all of the colours. We talked about cabinetry, we talked about what was going where, and then she worked with Premier Kitchens in Willoughby to actually design and install the kitchen. They did a great job. I did everything else around it. That whole open plan living area, I think, came together really well. That was just a really beautiful space. Yeah, that outdoor space that it leads to was gorgeous. And that was the place where really, that's, you know, the hub of the home, isn't it? That's where everyone hangs out and chats. And, you know, so when you can just imagine them up there on a weekend with various kids coming up with partners or girlfriends or, you know, ultimately grandchildren, and that will be where it all happens. So I felt quite privileged to be part of helping them build that, really.
Yeah, so congratulations again. It's such a beautiful project, Alix, as is, you know, you've got so many projects that you can sort of attest to as being wonderful. So many beautiful bathrooms you've done. I know that you're not only a bathroom and kitchen gal, but you know, just really beautiful furnishings and taking risks. I don't really call them risks, but not for you, probably not that much of a risk, but for clients it could be a risk to use bold colour. You've got some beautiful areas there with really bold blues, and some really some of the art is beautiful as well. I'm not sure if it's the same project, the big whale and the blue wall, and just really interesting little niches that are really cool to look at. Probably the last question though that I'll ask you is, Alix, I mean, you've got a lot of experience in terms of renovations. I know that anyone that goes to you is going to have, you know, a really, I think really expert professional hands in organising, you know, kitchen, bathroom renovation and the rest. But if anyone was embarking on a renovation now, whether or not they're using a designer, but what would be your advice just on to anyone that's kind of thinking, well, I want to do something like that. What's the first step to get on with that and really, I guess, start off on the right foot with planning something like the Palm Beach project?
I think you've got to do your research. You need to build a game plan. It's all about the planning, as you know, the meticulous levels of detail that and effort and time that we put into projects. When I'm working on anything, the process always starts with mood boards, inspiration, listening to what my clients want. So people really need to define some clear goals about what they'd like to achieve. What do they want? How do they want to feel in their home? That's one of the first questions I always ask, and it's a key part of the equation. Really getting a handle on styles that they like and don't like is super important. Consider any architectural features of the home that you can work with or not work with, if there aren't any, and that can often be the case, that there aren't anything particularly magnificent that you want to make a feature of. Therefore, what can you do to make that space interesting? How can you devise some kind of treatment that provokes a reaction? You want a reaction from people for being in your space. So really then it's about, just build a game plan. You know, you need to put some mood boards together. You and I would basically be putting together a carefully curated selection of materials. So whether that's from paints to finishes to textures, patterns, colours, so that you can look at it all together and really make sure that everything is working in tandem with all of the other selections. Think about consistency. Think about your flooring. Think about how the flooring links the spaces. Think about making consistent decisions about mouldings and architraves and skirtings and light switches and things like that. So, and if all that gives you palpitations, then call me or Adam.
You know, we talked about cohesion, and that's exactly right. And, you know, just before we finish off, because I guess we're at the end of our half an hour shortly. We are now, but we're going to keep going for a couple of minutes. I know, keep going. That is cohesion, isn't it? And I think that if I can sort of say that I believe that where people fall down is when they don't really handle their projects in the same way that designers would handle it, in that you lay it all out and you make sure that it flows and it is cohesive and there is a plan. And whether or not you create your own version of a plan and you're working with, you know, a builder that you know, a family member or someone you've employed, you really must have a plan in the beginning. I think it's correct, isn't it, Alix? Otherwise, you're just fraught with problems throughout a renovation, definitely.
And problems equals dollars, right? So, so having an overall plan is essential. And I think as well, people don't really realise just how time consuming it is. It really is a full-time job managing a renovation of that scale, particularly the one we've just been discussing. And, you know, people are time poor these days. Most families have 2 working partners and everything else, all of the other balls that you've got in the air with everything else going on in your life. So try and jemmy into that space the time and the focus required to come out with a cohesive result. I take my hat off to anyone who can do it alongside their normal lives. It's a big thing.
It is a big thing. Just finally, Alix, what's the time frame on something like the Palm Beach project? From design, engaging a designer like yourself, to here we are done.
I think I started working on the designs in early March, and the deadline was family arriving for Christmas. So it was quite good from that perspective, because as soon as I was saying, right, this is what we're doing, it was happening, which isn't always the case. I do usually prefer to have all the designs completely squared away before anyone starts chipping away at anything. But yeah, so we started in the March, and they literally enjoyed their first Christmas there in the same year.
Right. And that's the reality, isn't it, about renovations, is that, you know, it's not going to take a month or 2 months even to put together. If you're going to design it properly and make sure that it is cohesive, and, you know, if we can get it right in the beginning and have a plan that's ready to go with whoever's going to manage the project, especially construction, that's ideal. But it does take time. So as you were saying, kicked off in March, and then, you know, by Christmas, it's pretty good. There's a lot of work there, a lot of scope of work to cover. But amazing job, Alix, really beautiful. Again, I'm going to put Alix's details in the comment section. Check out Alix Helps. She's a good mate of mine, and she's a great designer. And I'm a fan of other designers. And Alix, I'm definitely a fan of you, my dear.
Thank you, lovely. As you know, the feeling is mutual, and I think, you know, if people are looking for a really great example of cohesive, beautiful homes that have been styled to a T. Oh, I've got one more thing to say actually about the advice. I just look at Adam's portfolio. You know, the level of detail that you go to with your finishing and your styling is awesome, and that is one really key thing. I think if you are working with a designer, do allow them to finish the job. Do allow them to style all the bits and pieces that we would put in there, because I think I read a really hilarious Instagram post the other day on something that said something about those projects when you haven't been allowed to finish, and you know, it does need some budget allocation. It really does. I'm not saying it's the biggest part, but you do need to allocate that budget, because there's something about just ending up looking like an apartment that had been recently robbed.
Yeah, I know. It's the styling part.
Yeah,
it's the styling part.
The finishing. Yeah. The finishing is really, really, that final 5% is key.
So important, isn't it? It's so important to style at the end. Finish it off properly. You're gonna go to that extent, like with Palm Beach or a project like that, you've really got to finish it off properly. So
yeah, absolutely.
Really good point. Really good
and
point.
And that's too. I think, you know, they know then that this is, and they always love it. They always love it. So yeah, it's well worth doing. But you just need to plan for it up front and make sure that there's budget for it. Usually by the time you get to the stage, often there's a lot left in the tin, so that might have to wait. And then of course, generally it never happens. But certainly with my projects, I always say to the clients, let's make sure we've got something put aside so that we can finish this off beautifully. And then it really feels like a completed project. It's a done deal.
Absolutely. You're not going to get any arguments out of me, definitely.
I didn't.
Absolutely not. So, look, Alix, I could just, as you and I know, we could just continue to talk for another half an hour. But I guess we'll finish off. I don't know whether we'll have to extend this Friday session to an hour, but I've had a great time talking to you. Thank you for taking the time this afternoon to jump on Wine and Design, and take us through your beautiful process and just the whole journey through Palm Beach and just your business. So again, guys, I'll put Alix's details in the notes and we'll leave it there. What are your plans for the weekend, Alix? I know you've got kids and a husband and all these things that a wife's got to take care of.
Actually, this weekend is really low key. It's awesome. Husband is away on a boys' weekend, so I'm already warming up my spot on the sofa out there to just order pizza and movie with the kids. So that's tonight. Tomorrow, the usual run around of sport, and Sunday I am going for a beautiful bushwalk with some Pommy friends who've just moved to Sydney. So I want to show them some walks near their home.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, well, have a wonderful weekend.
You too,
thank
lovely.
you again for chatting with me. And if anyone, you know, if you didn't catch us now, you can watch us later. So that's the beauty of this. But have a wonderful weekend, Alix, and I'll talk to you soon, my dear. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Great.
Bye.
Bye.